Now let us see about the liabilities of the directors. So far we have discussed the powers, rights and also specific duties, everything we have discussed. Now let us move on to the liabilities of the directors. So the liabilities of directors will be discussed under three heads: liability to outsiders, liability to company, and then liability to the criminal liabilities of directors. First one, liability to outsiders. The directors are not personally liable to outsiders. They are not personally liable to outsiders if they act within the scope of powers vested in them. They have to, whatever the scope, within the limit they have to act. The general rule in this regard is that wherever an agent is liable, those directors will be liable. So wherever the agent is liable, those directors also will be liable. But where there is a liability would attach to the principal only. Liability would attach to the principal and agent will be there, isn't it? So liability will attach with the principal only. The liability is the liability of the company. Whose liability? Liability is of the company's liability. It is not individually, it is not a liability of the director, it is a liability of the company. So the directors are personally liable to third parties of contract. See, if the directors are entering into the contract with third party, means the directors are personally liable to the third party. Then now they contract with outsiders in their personal capacity. They can have, the directors will contract with the third party with their personal capacity. So the director alone will be responsible. The liability is vested only with the director. Then they contract as agent of undisclosed principal. And then they enter into the contract on behalf of the prospective company. They can enter into the contract on behalf of prospective company. Then when the contract is ultra virus, the contract should not ultra virus the company. The ultra virus means whatever the main goal of the company will not break. That should be achieved. That is called ultra virus of the company. We should not break the goal of the company. Then, in default of statutory duties, the director shall be personally liable to third parties. The directors are personally liable to the third parties. There are default statutory powers are there. First one is misstatement in prospectus. Prospectus only we are going to issue to the public, so it should not have any mistaken. It should be proper. And then irregular allotment of shares. Irregular allotment of shares and the failure to repay application money if the minimum subscription is not received. If the minimum subscription is not received, we can return the money, allotment money. So failure to repay the money means that is also the one of the liability of the director. And failure to repay application money if allotment of shares and debentures is not default in on the stock exchange as specified in the prospectus. Whatever specified in the stock prospectus, all the allotment money or the debentures, share allotment and debentures money should be repaid within the time limit. If it is not doing so, that is also one of the liability. Default statutory duties of the director. And then liability to company. Liability to company means, what is the meaning? The director is liable. For example, when they have acted ultra virus the company. See, ultra virus means where they apply the funds of the company to objectives not specified in the memorandum of association, or when they pay dividend out of capital. Ultra virus means what motto they have started the company, whether they can break the company's motive and goal, whether they can apply the funds of the company to object not whatever the fund should be applied to specific purpose, that will be specified in the memorandum of association. If it is not mentioned in the memorandum of association, means we are not supposed to do. So that is called ultra virus. Whether we are breaking the bypassing the memorandum of association and investing the money, that is called ultra virus. Or when they pay out of dividend out of capital. See, dividend we have to pay out of profit only. We should not pay the dividend out of the capital, isn't it? That is called, that is also the one of the main criminal liability of the company. Then breach of trust. See, trustee, directors are considered as a trustee, isn't it? So directors are liable. Directors are being trustee of the company. They should discharge their duties in the best interest of the company. They must do their best interest of the company. Otherwise, when they commit a breach of trust resulting in a loss to the company, if because of the particular director, if any loss is committed to the company, if any loss will arise in the company, means they are bound to make good the loss. That particular director is bound to make good the loss. That is called breach of trust. For example, where the director of a company utilize company's property for their own benefit, they are guilty of breach of trust. So company's property, they should not use it as his own property. It is his company's property. So this is a guilty of, they should not feel, they feel guilty of breach of trust. They should not feel free to use the company's property. And then misfinance. Misfinance means willful negligence. Willful negligence because of his negligence and his directors are liable to the company for misfinance. The word misfinance covers willful negligence. He is not going to take interest of the company. Just he is going to get the remuneration for the directors. Whatever he is working, he is not going to recover any debts, or he is not going to participate in any other company's matters. So, however, mere failure on the part of the director to take necessary steps for recovery of debts due to the company does not constitute misfinance. So, he is not going to participate in, the business company affairs, and he is not going to take active interest of the company. And what are all the criminal liabilities? So any misstatement in prospectus, and whether the directors fail to return the allotment money, and whether the directors fail to issue the share certificate what to issue and debenture certificate what to issue. If they fail, that is also the criminal liabilities of the company directors. And then they must maintain the register. Whatever the register, directors will be liable with a fine and imprisonment. So for criminal liability, the director must have the fine. Companies Act, the register of company will charge fine to the director. Suppose they have committed the criminal liability, means they can charge fine and also imprisonment also will be there. Or both for fraud of non-compliances of any statutory provision. They have to adhere all the statutory provision. If they are not doing so, they are going to put into the, they are getting to the problem. There is a misstatement in prospectus. There is a failure to return on allotment with the register. So they must return the allotment with the register, and they must, if suppose they fail to issue the debenture certificate and share certificate, there is failure to give notice to the register for conversion of shares into stock if they want to convert the share into stock means they have to intimate to the register of the company. Suppose if they fail to intimate means that is also the criminal liability. Then next one is there is failure to maintain register of members and register of debenture holder. Who are all the registered member and who are all the debenture holder? Debenture holder means they have given money to us, isn't it? So we must give the money to the particular person. So we must have how in a company, in a small business concern, we will maintain the debtors list and creditors list, isn't it? Like the same way in a company also we must maintain the registers of names of shares holders and also debenture holders. That is very important. Then next one is there is a default in holding annual general meeting. We must hold the annual general meeting periodically. Suppose if there is any default in the annual general meeting means that is also the criminal liability. Then failure to provide the financial statement. So there is a failure to provide financial statement. All the balance sheet, financial statement means what? Balance sheet. They must provide the balance sheet periodically, every year, all financial year or accounting year. Otherwise, it is also considered as a criminal liability. Now let us move on to directorial register or register of directors or key managerial personnel. Then we can see the rule number 17 in the corporate law. What it says, directors registers refers to the list of directors selected by the shareholders, generally recorded in the company's minute book. What are all the records we will maintain in the minute book? Let us see now. Let us move on to the directorial register. How to register the company. So what are the key managerial personnel? Let us see. Directorial register or register of directors, and or we call it as a KMP. KMP means what? Key managerial personnel. What are all the particulars we are going to collect in our business premises? That will be mentioned in rule number 17 of Companies Act. So in corporate law, the directors register refers to the list of directors who is going to elect. It is selected by the shareholders. Generally recorded in the company's minute book. Already we have seen all these records will be recorded in the minute book. Minute book means how many general body meeting has conducted. In that meeting, whatever the resolution we have taken, that will be recorded in the minute book. By law, companies are required to keep this list up to date, remove those directors who are deceased or resigned, and to add who have elected by the shareholders. So, all the company must have the details of the directors, how many directors are going to decay, how many directors going to resign, how many directors going to retire, how many directors we are going to remove, how many directors we are going to appoint. That details will be kept in the company. So every company shall keep as its registered office. All the company must have a registered office. In that registered office only we are going to maintain the register of all the directors and all the key managerial personnel. What it will contain? The register, it will contain director's identification number and also that's present name and then surname or any former name is there means their surname, that is also in full name. Whether their father's name, mother's name, spouse name, everything will be included, and their date of birth, residential address, present address, and whether their nationality, including the nationality of origin. If any different nationality, that also will be mentioned, and their occupation and date of board resolution in which the appointment was made, when they have appointed as a director in this company, and then date of appointment and reappointment in the company, date of appointment and date of reappointment in the company, and date of cessation. Cessation means when they are going to, their period is going to come to an end. It is called cessation. Date of cessation of office and reason thereof. Why they are going to resign from this office. And then if he was in directorship in any other company, that also will be included. So, office of director or key managerial personnel held or relinquished in any other body corporate, whether he will be playing a role in the directorship in any other company, that also will be included, and his permanent account number, PAN number, the mandatory, it is very mandatory, permanent account number. Suppose it is not having the permanent account number, means for that reason only we are getting the director's identification number. Then next one is whether he was a membership number of, whether the person, any one of the director will be the company secretary, means whether he has completed ACS. So if he has completed any professional degree, means they will give a membership number. That number also will be included in the memorandum of association. In our register book we can enter. So membership number of Institute of Company Secretary of India. In case of company secretary, if it is applicable, any one director will be the company secretary, that membership number also will be registered. Then what are all the in addition to this register, what are all the things we are going to maintain? In addition to this, all the details of directors of key managerial personnel, the company also include the aforesaid register, the details of securities. What are all the securities held by the directors? Whether it is a holding company, subsidiary company, or subsidiary company of holding company, or any associate company. So, how many number? So, value of securities, how many shares, how many number of securities, description of securities, and what is the nominal value of the securities, means share value. And then, what is the price, the date of acquisition, when they have received the share, the date of acquisition of securities, and the price of other consideration. And then date of disposal, whether he has sold any share, means date of disposal and the price of consideration, whether they have received, whether the consideration paid and whether the consideration received. Then cumulative balance and number of securities held after each transaction. After each transaction, totally how many shares the person is having. Then mode of having the share, mode of holding the physical or acquisition of shares, whether he received the share in the dematerialized format or whether he received the share in a materialized format. If any encumbrances means without any fault, without any problem he is having the share, without any encumbrances, whether the securities have been pledged, whether the security, we have received the security, the same security will be pledged by some other person. So, without any problem, the securities will be created or not, that will be checked. And apart from the above following register, it must be available in the company register office. What are all the things is available in the company register office? What are all the documents will be kept in the register office, means that also register of loan, how many loans we have received, guarantee, security, register of loans, guarantee, security will be kept in our office. Accusation made by the company, where we have received loan, where we have given the guarantee, what are all the security we have issued, and accusation, how much share we have received by the company, everything will be recorded and everything will be kept in our register office. Register of investment not held in its own name by the company. If any without own name, whether we have invested money means that also will be registered. And registration of related party. Registration of contract with the related party and contract and bodies with which directors are interested. Whether the shares are related to any other directors means that also will be mentioned. Then registration of key managerial personnel. Registration of directors and key managerial personnel. Then register of details of securities held by directors and key managerial personnel. Register of members. All the register. We have to maintain all the register, and then any foreign register also will be mentioned. Notice of situation or change of situation or discontinuation of situation of place where foreign register shall be kept. Whether the register is in foreign register also will be kept in the office. Then declaration by the registered owner of shares who does not hold the beneficial interest in such shares. Declaration of owner of shares not holding the shares, that also will be recorded. Then who are other beneficial. So declaration by the beneficial owner who hold or acquire, how many securities will be owned and who are all the beneficial and who are all the interest of the shares, but whose name is not entered in the register of members. So all the register we have to maintain whether they are not holding shares, that declaration also will be maintained, and whether who are all the beneficial, that also will be maintained. And what is the difference between the manager and the director? First, let us take a heading, nature of work. What is the nature of work of the manager? What is the nature of work? First one is a person who is in charge for particular department of company is responsible for the purpose of that department. See, purchase department means the manager will look after the particular department only. Whereas the director can lead the company, he can look after all the variety of department. That is called director. And the nature of work of the manager is he can allocate the work, he can appoint the subordinate, and he can provide guidelines to the subordinate. Whether director nature of work is he will implement all the policies, isn't it? So nature of work is different from manager to the director. A manager allocates works to the subordinate according to the nature of the appointment and decided by whom the particular job has to be done and provide necessary guidelines. What to do, when to do, and how to do will be decided by the manager. So who is capable of doing the work, that will be decided by the manager, and director implement policies and provide fundamental guidelines to carry out the job to the concerned manager, and then the director will guide implement the jobs and give guidelines to the concerned manager and do the work accordingly. And the level of management. The level of management is, whereas a manager is concerned, it is an executive level. Executive level means it is a middle level. Whereas a director is concerned, it is a top level of management. A manager comes under the executive level, that is middle level management. In the higher order organization structure, we can see means manager will come under the middle level management. First one is top level managing director, isn't it? So that in the organization structure, he will place in the top level management. Then responsibility, the manager is going to implement the plan. Whatever the policy is implemented by the director, that will be executed by the manager. Whereas director is going to formulate the plan. So responsibility, managers are responsible for implementation of plans and policies approved by the board of directors. Whatever the board of directors approved, that will be implemented by the manager. Here, the director is going to formulate the plan and the policies. So, directors are responsible for formulation of plans and policies. For what? Time to time to achieve the goal of the company. Their main motto is to achieve the goal of the company. Here, managers' main motto is to whatever the formulation framed, that will be executed by the manager. Now, let us see the differences between managing director and the whole-time director. Now let us know about, we are going to learn about differences between the managing director and the whole-time director. Now, what is the basis? Managing director, what is the power is vested with the managing director? Managing director is entrusted with substantial power, whereas the whole-time director, the power is stated in terms of employment. What is the prohibition? The Act, the Companies Act Section 97 prohibits to act both managing director and manager simultaneously. It will prohibit. We can't act as a managing director and manager simultaneously. Here, in case of whole-time director, sometimes the whole-time director may be appointed as a manager and director of a company. Sometimes, in the rare case, the whole-time director can be appointed, may be appointed as a manager and also employee, isn't it? Then, director of a company. Appointment, when we can appoint the managing director, consent of the shareholder of a company. How can we get the consent of the shareholder of a company? By passing the resolution. By passing the resolution, it is not necessarily for appointment of managing director. For appointment of managing director, it is not necessarily to get the consent of the shareholders to pass the resolution. It is not necessary. Whereas in case of whole-time director, consent of shareholders of a company by a special resolution is must. For whom? For the appointment of whole-time director, special resolution. After passing the special resolution, then only we can appoint the whole-time director. Then, what is the duration for appointment? Duration of appointment is, no individual can appointed for more than 5 years at a time. So, managing director is not going to place a managing director for a company not more than 5 years. Whereas, there is no such restriction regarding the appointment of a whole-time director. There is no restriction in the appointment of whole-time directors. Now, let us conclude in this lesson. We can know about what is director's responsibility, director's power, who is going to manage the company. The company is going to manage by the board of directors. So, with this lesson, what we can learn, board of directors, they are called as a group of human beings who undertake the responsibility to run the business of the company. They are known as board of directors, isn't it? So, how much the director play a vital role in the company, the functioning of the company, how they are getting by controlling, by guiding, and also by directing, managing the affairs of the company. What are all the powers and what are all the rights, what are all the liabilities, what are all the register we can maintain, and all the register should be maintained in the register office. Register office only we can maintain all the register. Are you clear? So, we have come to the conclusion. The board of directors play a vital role in the company welfare. So, they are the only person to work only on the interest of the company. Thank you girls. We have completed this lesson. Next let us move on to company secretary. Thank you.